I run these parent support groups called Tiny Humans, Big Emotions, and when I kickstart them, I ask parents, what do you want for your kids when they grow up? What do you want them to be? What do you want them to experience? The number one answer is happiness. I want my kid to be happy. But in order to have happiness, we have to go through two things. We have to have gratitude practice, and we have to learn how to process the hard stuff. If we don't have the tools for emotion processing, we can't get back to that good stuff. But so many of us grew up in a culture where we heard things like, you're okay, suck it up, get it together, man up, which really meant we were hearing, your hard feelings are really uncomfortable for me. Can you not express them? Could you just push those down a little bit? I don't want to hear about it. So many of us as adults don't have these tools. We start to feel something that's really hard or uncomfortable, and we want to numb it. We want to make it go away, just as quick as possible. So we turn to these coping mechanisms. We might scroll, hello Instagram, I'm a huge fan of that. We might binge watch a television show, This Is Us. Or we might reach for a substance, just to numb the things. But when we numb the good, we numb the bad at the same time. And so we really have to get to a place where we can feel the anger, the sadness, the embarrassment, the disappointment, the fear, the shame, the guilt. A colleague and I co-created the collaborative emotion processing method. And in doing so, we outlined 5 phases of emotion processing that we're going through. The first one is allowing ourselves to feel. This is really hard. It seems pretty easy. A friend of mine recently applied for a job. She thought she had it in the bag. She calls me crying. She didn't get it. She's like, I just want to stop crying. And I was like, no, sister, this is it. You got to let yourself feel it. The second step is recognizing it. What am I feeling? On the surface, she was feeling sad. But below that, she was feeling disappointment. She was feeling fear for what that meant for her future, her career, her financial future, all that jazz. Bonus points if in phase 2, you have someone you can turn to who can support you with empathy, not sympathy. This is the person who is not saying, oh, you'll get the next job. You know what? That probably wasn't a good fit for you. They're the person who are like, man, this sucks. I thought you had it too. I'm going to sit here with you. They're not trying to solve your problem or make it go away. They're just there with you. The third is security in your feelings. Security is where you know, I'm not going to feel this forever. I can feel it right now because it's like a cloud in the sky. It's going to move, and there are other feelings that exist that I'll get to feel again. When we don't have security, we're looking at things like anxiety, where you're stuck in fear, and you might create a little false sense of security around yourself, where you'll organize things to feel secure temporarily. But if we really want to process, we're going to move on to phase 4, which is coping. This is the most missed, and I think the most important of all of them. In coping, our goal is to move from the amygdala into the prefrontal cortex, from your feelings brain into your rational brain. But there are 2 types of coping. 1, coping mechanisms. These are the numbing effects. This is the quick, easiest fix we can find so that we can just stop feeling it. This is what we will naturally do if we don't learn coping strategies. When we tap into a coping strategy, though, we are going to feel that thing a little bit longer. We're going to have to sit in that feeling a little longer before it goes away. This could be asking for a hug, reading a book, music, movement. You might draw, tap into art, or ask a friend, turn to talk therapy. Usually when we're processing an emotion, it takes a little while to do so. And so tapping into these strategies is real hard. But the hardest one of all, and the most effective, is breathing. It's also the most accessible for us, and it's free. If we can pause and breathe, we can truly leave our amygdala and come into our prefrontal cortex. And when we've done that, we can problem solve and move on. And if we have done all the work beforehand, all other 4 phases, when we get here, it's a breeze, because now we're in our rational brain to problem solve. The thing is, guys, my goal isn't happiness. Nobody lives in a state of happiness all the time. Nobody's like, oh my gosh, guys, let me tell you how great my life is all the time. my goal is to help kiddos learn how to get back to calm, safety, peace. And it means walking through the hard stuff first.
Give myself a good talking to this town. Just need a little brain salad surgery.